Police in Charleston, South Carolina tell NBC News they are aware of the death of a former Boeing employee turned whistleblower. 62-year-old John Barnett found dead on Friday from what the coroner calls an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a big yikes here. It feels like my timeline is flooded with very understandable reasons maybe to never fly again, or to purposely or at least look at if the plane is a Boeing or not. Absolute shocking information came out. Obviously, we're going to talk about all their failed inspections, which are an astonishing number, but also, and more importantly, the whistleblower who, in between interviews in which he was sharing information about safety and oversight, things like that at Boeing, he for some reason, in between interviews yesterday, decided to leave this planet alone in his truck. Obviously, many people wonder what information he may have had on the Clintons, but I mean, quite frankly, this whole story is right out of the, complete insanity. Make sure you leave a like on this video and you share it because people need to see this story. 62-year-old Boeing whistleblower John Barnett found passed away in his truck today after he didn't show up for a legal interview linked to his case against Boeing. Barnett worked for Boeing for 32 years, retired in 2017. After retiring, Barnett spoke out about how Boeing was cutting corners on their airplanes. Just before his passing, Barnett gave evidence in a lawsuit against Boeing. Barnett accused Boeing of deliberately fitting substandard parts on their aircraft. He also accused Boeing of having faulty oxygen systems, saying one in four breathing masks would not work in an emergency situation. Barnett said that new plane builds were rushed. When he brought his concerns forward, they were allegedly ignored by the company. When he passed, Barnett was in Charleston for interviews linked to a case against Boeing. He was supposed to come back for more questioning on Saturday, but didn't show up. Inquiries were made to his hotel where Barnett was found passed away in his car in the parking lot. Police are investigating it from a self-inflicted lead injection. So people, of course, respond, no effing way this guy offed himself. We've hit a point now where if we don't start tearing stuff down, this out-of-control, illegitimate people, it's nuts. What Colin Rugg writes, what's more probable? Boeing whistleblower travels to give testimony against Boeing, books a hotel, and ends himself in the parking lot. Or Boeing whistleblower travels to give testimony against Boeing, books a hotel, and gets ended in the parking lot. Draw your own conclusions. At the time of his passing, Mr. Barnett had been in Charleston for legal interviews linked to that case. Last week, he gave a formal deposition in which he was questioned by Boeing's lawyers before being cross-examined by his own counsel. He had been due to undergo further questioning on Saturday. When he didn't appear, inquiries were made. He was subsequently found with a self-inflicted wound in the parking lot. Just another coincidence. So Colin writes, so Barnett went out of his way and traveled somewhere to give legal interviews, booked a hotel for himself, showed up to give the legal interviews, and then ends himself in his truck in between interviews? This is way less believable than Boeing hiring somebody to end him. Yeah, I mean, this is beyond insanity. And then if you look at also, there was more video that came out yesterday. Obviously, the whistleblower we know about. But then secret footage captured of Boeing engineers saying they wouldn't even fly on their own planes. The 15 people who were asked those questions were working on the flagship project, the 787 Dreamliner. The people on the assembly line have little faith in the own plane that they were building. This is, I mean, what else can you say? What's going on with Boeing? Al Jazeera sent an undercover reporter to a plant in South Carolina where Dreamliners are assembled and found that workers there wouldn't even want to fly on one of them. Boeing whistleblower John Barnett's warning over aviation giant flagship 787 Dreamliner and 737 MAX weeks before he was found not alive anymore, as the FAA reveals the company failed 33 of 89 audits and used Dawn soap for lubricant. I mean, if you, by the way, you look at their stock, they've lost billions of dollars in the last month. Billions of dollars since all these plane issues started coming up. I mean, I would not, if the plane that I'm on is a Boeing, I'm very, very, very nervous. I'm already a nervous flyer. You see Southwest Airlines cuts capacity, pauses hiring due to Boeing challenges. United Airlines said it will also slow the pace. People don't feel safe now. Boeing told Southwest to expect the delivery of 46 MAX 8s this year, down from the airplane maker's previously expected 58, according to regulatory filing. Southwest expected Boeing to deliver 79 MAX jets in total, including some of the smaller MAX 7 variants, which are not even certified yet by the FAA. There were times during, at least according to him, the whistleblower, that he would find up to 300 quality issues or problems when he would inspect planes, and then he was basically taken off the job because he was finding too many things wrong. The suit alleged under pressure workers were deliberately fitting substandard parts to Boeing 787s and that brass was sweeping defects under the rug to save money. The FAA has since revealed that the firm failed a whopping 33, so just under 50, call it 40%, of audits during an exam of its 737 MAX production. In January, Barnett appeared on TMZ to provide his take on technical failure that saw a door fly off the hinges of a 737, a model he said was being victimized by recent shifts in strategy along with the 787. His warning would prove prophetic. A 787 experienced a mid-air technical event Monday, injuring 50 people. In January, Barnett explained why he believed both models were ticking time bombs as both incidents remain under investigation. This is not a 737 problem, it's a Boeing problem, he said, after being asked if he believed the 737 was safe to fly following the door incident and subsequent FAA inspection. I know the FAA is going in and done due diligence and inspections to ensure the door close on 737 is installed properly and the fasteners are stored properly, he said, citing the parts that likely played part in the incident. But my concern is, what's the rest of the airplane? What's the condition of the rest of the airplane? He went on to provide a reason for that concern, one that led him to file the lawsuit against the aviation firm. Back in 2012, Boeing started removing inspection operations off their jobs, he told TMZ's Charles, I can't even dream of pronouncing that last name, and Harvey Levin, recalling his name at its time as quality overseer at Boeing's plant in South Carolina, which manufactured mostly 787s. So it left the mechanics to buy off their own work, he explained. Barnett went on to charge the incident involving the door was indicative of something greater and something alleged in his lawsuit. Boeing turning a blind eye to safety concerns in order to raise their bottom line. What we're seeing with the door plug blowout is what I've seen in the rest of the airplane as far as the job not being completed properly, inspection steps being removed, issues being ignored, he charged, months before his sudden passing. My concerns are with the 737 and 787 because those programs have really embraced that theory of quality is overhead and non-value added. He sent a summary of his findings to companies that completed the audit after an all-day February 27th meeting with CEO Dave Calhoun. He did not state the specific corrective actions Boeing and Spirit must take. So Spirit Airlines obviously in trouble too. Don't tell, what's his name, Dave Portnoy. As for Barnett, he outlined to TMZ in January how he began to push back at brass at the then South Carolina plant in 2010 when they allegedly started to push back on his quality control of the Dreamliner. When I first started working in Charleston, I was in charge of pushing back defects to our suppliers, he told them in the interview, appearing virtually days before heading back to South Carolina to handle depositions with Boeing lawyers. What that meant was I would take a group of inspectors and actually go to the supplier and inspect their product before they even sent it in. I'd take a team of 4 inspectors to Spirit Aerosystems and inspect the 41 section. That's the portion of the aircraft extending from the nose to the aft of the cockpit window before they sent it to Charleston, and we found 300 defects. When I returned to Charleston, my senior manager told me that we had found too many defects and that he was going to take the next trip, he then revealed. So the next trip he went on, and he took only 2 inspectors, and they got back and they were giving accolades for only finding 50 defects. So I pulled the inspector aside and I said, did Spirit really clean up their act that quick? That doesn't sound right. And she was mad. She said no. The inspectors were given 2 hours to inspect the entire section and then were kicked off the airplane. The interview ended there, and within weeks, Barnett was in Charleston ironing out his ongoing lawsuit and suddenly decided to end his own life. I mean, this is nuts. You have your own engineers on the plane saying no, they would not. Look at this. Would you fly on this?
Fly one of these planes?
No, not really.
Of 15 workers asked randomly, 10 said they would not fly on the Dreamliner.
I wouldn't fly one of these planes because I see the quality going down around here.
Think about that. I mean, this is insane. I think Boeing probably needs to be shut down almost immediately, and these planes need to be grounded or subjected to a serious inspection by an outside company. This is insanity. That's been going on this long is shocking. That now this man, who is a whistleblower, many believe lost his life because of him whistleblowing on the company. What is going to be done about this? I know that I'm having serious second thoughts about ever flying in a Boeing plane ever again, period. I'm sure a lot of other people agree. What do you think happened? Let me know in the comment section down below. Make sure you share this video out there, and we'll talk to you again real soon.